Hey everybody, it's Albert. Some of you may remember that some time ago I made a video titled Am I Seeing Double? About two King James onlyists whose comments on those who did not support King James onlyism were unusually similar, and wondered if maybe these were the sock accounts of somebody else, or were at least the same person. And I didn't really, and I was just pointing them out and having some fun with them. Now this video has been up for a year, and what's funny is that these individuals or something, someone has been revisiting the video every once in a while and voting down comments that people will make, and it's really kind of pathetic. But of course these two, or one, or whatever they are quite pathetic. Well, today it reached a new level of pathetic. Today I get in my mailbox from Boggymark1 this message stating, it's titled, "Your stupid video entitled Am I Seeing Double? Good afternoon, Labyrinth 312. Your video violates my privacy and advises its viewers that I am the owner of another YouTube account. You will remove this video at once, or I will alert YouTube to your violation of my privacy, since you falsely claim that my name is identical to that of another YouTuber. This is as ridiculous as my claiming that you are the late Elizabeth Taylor, but I never posted a video to that effect in the attempt to defame you. Very truly yours, the owner of the Boggymark1 YouTube account." So now this guy doesn't know me very well, because something like this is going to have the exact opposite effect. First of all, this clown doesn't understand YouTube's privacy policy very well, and right now I'm looking at the page, and it states, and I'll put a link to the bottom here so he can read it himself. For content to be considered for removal, an individual must be uniquely identifiable by image, voice, full name, social security number, bank account number, or contact information such as home address, email address. Examples that would not violate our privacy guidelines include gamer tags, avatar names, and address information in which the individual is not named. So, no, I haven't violated the privacy policy. You can complain. Go right ahead, and I'll fight it, and I'll win. And in the meantime, though, you see, something like this, you just kind of have to answer it better. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I'm done speaking here, the next thing you'll see in this video is the original video that he's complaining about. It'll all be right after I'm done here. It'll be this part of the same video. I'm going to add the original video to it, and I want everyone to feel free to mirror this video with my comments and then the original video, and you know, this is a good freedom of speech kind of thing, and so besides, this is just going to tick him off even more. So I think that's a lot of fun, and I think it's a worthwhile project, and hopefully maybe we can get 10, 20 more people to do the same thing, mirror this video, and just drive them up a wall. Just have fun with it. Go with it. Go with the flow. Thank you very much for your time, and now to the original video. Hey everybody, it's Albert, and yesterday I made a video that stated, could it get any more pathetic? And well, if you put a challenge out like that, somebody's going to come up with a way of doing it, and actually they've done it in the past. I just didn't really pick up on it, or I wasn't certain of it. I had actually thought of mentioning this in that video, but just said, I wasn't really sure, so I didn't want to go with it yet. And that deals with the individual who I mentioned as boosting his own, basically giving himself the thumbs up repeatedly. It was an account under the moniker JJ Peckus III III. It goes JJ Peckus III. And he always seems to work in tandem with this fellow Boggymark1. And what's interesting is both have this rather unusual writing style. It's very much a throwback, almost like a 19th century English, not really Elizabethan, certainly, but if you've ever read anything from, let's see, first half of the 20th century or late 19th century, it's a different writing style. And it sort of resembles that. I'm not saying it is that, but it's just a rather stilted form of the language, and at least to contemporary ears. So I was kind of curious about that, you see, because there were some definite similarities, and I really had considered the possibility that they were actually the same person. It's certainly the thought had crossed my mind before, but it wasn't something I really felt like tracking down. Well, when I made the video, there was a comment made by someone who said they are the same person, and you can tell because they make the same comments on, sometimes even in the same video, because they kind of lose track of what they're doing. And I have noticed, but it's kind of a thing when you get into these sort of debates, when you're going back and forth with comments, you can lose track of who's saying what very easily, particularly the way YouTube has the page set up now. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the comments and where they're going, and you sort of like, you know, didn't the other guy say that, and why is this one answering me or something, and you sort of get that sort of flow going, and you're not, and it was very curious, and I noticed that there's certain catchphrases. First of all, when you deal with both of them, there's a pattern. They have a set number of, quote, facts that are usually taken from King James only websites, and they don't really have a whole lot of depth to it, and they'll continually state these things, and then when you catch them, basically you're wrong, then they go back to some catchphrase that the King James version is free from errors, blah 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 blah, and there's these various catchphrases, so you get in these, basically they end up, every time you catch them in basically something that's wrong, they just roll back into the circular reasoning as their escape, as their closeout to the art, and then they just, you know, they try to change the subject. So, and that, anyone who's dealt with either one of them knows exactly what I'm speaking of. Well, after I got this note that, you know, yeah, they do, and I'm thinking, well, maybe let's go check, because there's these definite key phrases and styles, and I want to do a little analysis of their comments. So let's go take a look. First of all, I am on the King James Only Controversy video by Bloodboy Chad, and what I'm going to do here is actually move down this page, and you'll find that down here we have this comment by J.J. Peckus III. I want you to look at that last line. Free of errors, omissions, and additions, the King James Bible is the Holy Scriptures in English. Now this is, anyone who's dealt with him knows this is an absolute catchphrase that you'd be familiar with. Now watch. We go down a little further, and again with J.J. Peckus III, we have the same line, that it's free of errors, omissions, and additions as a matter of historical fact. This is his absolute catchphrase. And we move down a little further, and now we have Boggymark1. Free of errors, additions, or omissions, the King James Bible is the Holy Scriptures in English as a matter of historical fact. And we go down a little further, and we're back to J.J. Peckus III, who says, free of errors, omissions, and additions, the King James Bible is the Holy Scriptures in English as a matter of historical fact. Very interesting, don't you think? Now, I could go on further with this free of errors, omissions, and additions on other videos, but it's the same pattern. You'll find it generally, you'll see both the same comment being made by both, but this isn't the only similarity. So I want to go on and move on to some others. Okay, now let's look at the video that I did, the new YouTube group Contra KJV Onlyism. Now, one of the things that happens if you criticize the King James Version, at some point you're probably going to be accused of being a Jesuit spy or something like that. So let's go to one of J.J. Peckus III's comments to me, and what he will state here. And let me scroll down this page here a little so we can see it more clearly. And this is mine, and you'll see in the yellow here. Now we're going to go to his comment here, and what he states is that I have repeatedly noticed that you argue in favor of popish Romanism. Now, even among people who are fundamentalists who hate the Catholic Church, popish Romanism is a rather unusual phrase. You may hear, Catholicism or Catholics or Roman Catholics or even Romanism or popery, but popish Romanism, you don't find a whole. Even if you Google it, you get less than 2 pages of hits, which indicates it's a rather unusual phrase. Well, what are the odds of it appearing twice on the same page by 2 different people? So we go down. Now that was J.J. Peckus III. Now we go down here, and we have another response to me by Boggymark1 stating that the Codex Vaticanus is as thoroughly corrupt as popish Romanism itself. One of the expressions, if you've ever dealt with either of these, you'll run into is multiple modern mistranslations onlyism. Or they call it MMM onlyism, which they refer to as use of modern Bibles. Of course, it's kind of ridiculous, since modern Bible users really don't object to the use of the King James Bible. It's the other way around. So there's only one group that backs onlyism. And then what's fascinating about this is I thought the possibility that maybe this was something that came out of one of the King James only camps that was maybe popular. So I Googled the phrase multiple modern mistranslations onlyism to see what I would come up with, just in case this was a catchphrase that I had missed that had been popular in King James only literature. What in fact I found is that when I Googled the phrase multiple modern mistranslations onlyism, in all of Google you end up with a total of 2 hits. Both of them on YouTube, one of them being Boggymark1's channel. So here I have J.J. Peckus III using the same phrase that appears on Boggymark's channel, MMM onlyism, multiple modern mistranslations onlyism. Then later on, in this is on the same my video. It's on the comments page for my video announcing the King James Contra King James onlyism group. Later on the same page, we come down and find that again we have J.J. Peckus III making the same assertion about multiple modern mistranslations onlyism over here, and so again you have Peckus making the same statement, and then later on again Peckus saying multiple modern mistranslations onlyism, and then again, this is obviously a big favorite, multiple modern mistranslations onlyism, and then down here we get to Boggymark1 enters the picture, and he uses the same thing, MMM, the modernist error, the foolish modernist error of MMM onlyism, multiple modern mistranslation onlyism. So then we go back and we're back up to J.J. Peckus. So what's going on here, guys? What's happening here? So what we have are 2 accounts, neither of which makes videos. They only comment on other people's videos and favorite King James only type videos. And both of these accounts are manned by those who have not only unusual expressions, but identical unusual catchphrases, expressions to use. They have the same command of the English language. They're both very good writers in English, and in a very distinguishable style. It's not something you see commonly. They both have that same style. And not only do they have this, they both have the same command of facts, which is they're not really that good. A lot of stuff straight out of King James only websites, but not really very much in the way of knowledge of Greek and Hebrew or the manuscript evidence or anything like that. They really don't know any of that stuff. And that's been kind of demonstrated in common exchanges. But what's really interesting is both of them have the same sort of reactions to when they're presented with. See, their strategy is the same when presented with the evidence, which is to go about attacking the other person with these sort of comments. They're also unusually identical or close to each other in their style of commenting, in terms of attacking other people who've basically exposed them for not really knowing anything, and they both then resort to these catchphrase expressions about free from error, and anyone who's dealt with them, and you can contact, if you need verification of this, you can contact Brainouty or Ancient Hebrew Org or anyone who's dealt with these blood Chad. It's the same thing. Everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen it. So it's the same style of responses, the same progression of events, where they'll just go about, making stuff up as they go along, and then when they're caught, basically, right, where they just have no defense, then they sort of attack the other person personally and throw in free from error, blah blah blah. But it's the same. So there you have it. So now, if this were a website that I were the admin of, I could look up the IP addresses, and that would more or less cinch it. But I don't, so have that advantage here. So what I'm going to do is I presented the case, and I'm going to have, and this will be the fun part. Make comments. Tell me what do you think these guys are the same person or not. In fact, I suggest you go to Bloodborne Chad's video, and I'll put the links in for the old comments on Bloodborne Chad's video and my video that I've used in assembling this. I'm sure others could add pages with other videos where they're and just look at the general sentence structures, the way they express things, and you tell me, do you think these are the same guys or not? I think it's fairly interesting, and this will be sort of like a little game for today. So there it is. You decide. Thank you very much for your time.